Jai Hind. The topic today which we are going to discuss today is from Unit 2, that is structuring system requirements, and for structuring the system requirements we will learn DFD, which is a part of how you model a process. So what are the learning objectives of this session? We will understand the logical modeling of a process through studying DFDs, how to draw them, what are the rules, and how to decompose DFDs into lower level DFDs. So what is process modeling? Basically when we graphically represent the processes that capture, manipulate, store and distribute the data between a system and its environment and among the system components, then we say that we are modeling a particular process. So what's a DFD? It is the graphical illustration and it illustrates the movement of data between external entity and the process and the data stores within the system. That is, we are having certain set of processes and how the data is moving from between those processes, what data stores we are using within the system. This we show in DFD. So modeling the system process, we utilize the information which is gathered during the requirement analysis phase. Structure of the data is also modeled in addition to the process. That is when we talk about process modeling, then we work on both processes as well as data part. What are the deliverable outcomes of this process modeling concept? Set of coherent interrelated data flow diagrams. So deliverable is the DFD. And at the top level, we are having the level 0 DFD, which is also known by the context flow diagram, and it shows the scope of the system. When we talk about the DFDs of the current system, then it enables the analyst to understand the current system. It also we also draw the DFDs of new logical system, which shows the technology independency, as well as it shows the data flows, structural and functional requirement of the new system. So how we are decomposing the process in a DFD? At the upper part, we are having the system, that is level 0. And we are aware that is a single system, it comprises of many functions. So we are having, let's suppose this is my function 1 and this is my function 2 of the system. Now we decompose it further, and these are the activities of the function. For example, I am calculating the salary and checking whether the salary has reached some particular base point or not. For that, I am having two activities. First, I am calculating the salary, and in the other function, I am checking the constraint which I want to apply on the salary. So my 1.1, it will become my addition part, and 1.2, it will become my comparison part. Now these addition and these comparison part may be further categorized into another level, and these are termed as task, and these are being denoted with the help of 1.1.1. That is the notation which we use in DFDs, how to number them. So function 1, then if I am decomposing this function into sub-function, this is 1.1 and 1.2. If I am further decomposing my functions into sub-task or sub-functions or tasks, then these need to be number 1.1.1 or 1.2.1. This is my another function of the system, and same concept also goes with this function. So decomposition, it is the act of breaking a system into sub-components, and each level of abstraction reveals more or less detail. So here what I am showing the scope of the system. Here at this level we are showing only a function. At this level I am further decomposing this function. So we are reaching to more finer details. Or we can show the previous diagram with the help of this also. So here I am having the system, here I am having the functions, and these are the activities of my function. So we can show in a form of hierarchy. So here I am having the DFD level 0, here DFD we can say level 1, 2 and so on. So basically for the DFDs we are having 4 symbols, but these 4 symbols they have been symbolized, or the different pictures have been used to represent these symbols. We are having 2 sets. One is De Morgan and Jordan system, and another one is my Gain and Sarson system. So here, according to my Sarson system, we use this rounded box to show my process. This is rectangle which we show for the entities. For the database, we are having the data store, and for showing my data, we use this arrow symbol. Whereas if when we use the Jordan strategy, then in that Jordan symbols, then in that case, instead of round square, we are having a circle. Now these 2 symbols, they are same in both the concepts. Here, this is the symbol being used for database and database or data store, and this is a symbol we use under Jordan for data store. And again, in both concepts, data flow is the symbol for data flow is same. Always remember, never mix these symbols. So if you are opting for Sarson, always go with the Sarson set of symbols. If you are opting for the Jordan, then always go with the Jordan set of symbols. So data flow, what it shows, it depicts the data that are in motion and moving as a unit from one place to another in the system. It is always shown with the help of an arrow, and we always select a meaningful name to represent the data. Never select absurd names when you are representing the data. Data store, basically it depicts the data at rest, and it may be your file folder, computer based files, or it can be a notebooks, any that is, if a single doc file, it could be used for representing the data. Name of the store as well as the number are recorded in between the lines. What is the process? It depicts the work or action performed on data so that they are transformed, stored or distributed. Number of process as well as names are recorded whenever you draw DFD. Now what is source or sink? Source depicts the origin or the destination of the data. That is, from where the data is originating, it becomes my source, and where the art is ending or terminating, where it is going, that it is known as sink point. Sometimes referred to an external entity drawn as a square symbol. Name states what the external agent is. Because they are external, many characteristics are not of interest to us. So in DFDs, generally they are the most ignored part. Now come on the levels. Context diagram or the level 0 diagram, what it says, it shows the scope of an organizational system, that shows the system boundaries, external entities that interact with the system, and the major information flowing between the entities and system. Whereas in the case of the level 1 diagram, it is the DFD that represents a system major processes, data flows and data stores at a high level of detail. For example, we are having a Hoosier Burger automated food ordering system. Now we will see how the context diagram and next level DFD is being done. So in this case, if I talk about the context level, so what we are having in the context level, it is my scope of the organizations. It is showing the scope of organizational system. So here what I am having a food ordering system. This is my project or product, and in this, these are my entities. I am having customer, I am having kitchen, and I am having the restaurant manager. So when I am talking about the customer, how it is interacting with the system, it is ordering the food and in return it is getting the receipt. In the case of the kitchen, it is again whatever the customer is ordering, it is being forwarded to the kitchen, and here we are having the management reports on the part of restaurant manager. Now the level 1 DFD of the same, this is my context level diagram, so I need to break down this process. So how the breakdown of this process is being done? Here I am having the very first process, that is 1.0, receive and transform the customer food order. This is another, update the goods sold file. Here I am updating the inventory. This is for updation part, and this is for my management or report management part. So whatever the customer is ordering, it is being received by this particular process, and in return only this process is responsible to send the reports, or you could say payment receipt, and this component or process is also responsible to forwarding the customer request to the kitchen. Now this particular component is also responsible for updating the how many goods we have sold, as well as what is the current status of the inventory data. So updation need to be done at both the ends. So it is sending the data to both the processes. Here if we talk about this process, it is formatting the goods sold data, and this is my database in this case, that is the goods sold file, and here I am having the inventory file. It could be my XLS file, or it could be my database file, and it is updating this. Now whatever updations being done, now that part, the reports we are generating, those reports, they are using both these data sets. So here the information is flowing from here to here, and finally it is generating the reports. Now this is very important, the reports being generated here, they are for my management, and which is being shown only to the restaurant manager. So what are the basic rules that we should always remember when we draw DFD? Inputs to a process are always different than outputs, that is input and output, they cannot be always same. Objects always have a unique name. In order to keep the diagram uncluttered, you can repeat the data stores and sources and sinks on a diagram. That is what this says. For example, this is my data store, this is also interacting, this is also interacting. So multiple arrows they are, or multiple flows, they are coming to the same data set. So to avoid the cluttering, what you can do, you can show D2 at two different parts in the same DFD. When we talk about the process, then what rules need to be followed? No process can have only output, that is it should have input as well as output. No process can have only input. If it is having only input, it is acting as a black hole. A process has a verb, that is for a process you always use a verb. For the data store, data cannot be moved directly from one store to another, that is if I am having these two data store D1 and D2, then we cannot directly move the data from D1 and D2. We are always having a process in between. Data cannot move directly from an outside source to a data store, again we need a process. Data cannot move directly from a data store to a data sink, again a process is always there, and a data store is always have a noun name, a noun phrase. For the source and sink, data cannot move directly from a source to sink, there should always be a process. A source sink has a noun phrase. For the data flow, a data flow has only one direction of flow between the symbols, that is this is not permissible. Yes, we can use the fork, that is this is permissible. A fork means that exactly the same data goes from a common location to two or more processes, the data stores or source and sinks. So this is a permissible. So if we look at the rules, so this slide is showing the incorrect and this is the correct usage of the symbols. So rule A, what it says, that is in the case of this, a process should have a input. Here there is no output. In this case, a data is traveling from directly traveling between the two data stores, again it is not a permissible. Again in this case, what is happening? The entity is directly interacting with the data. Again this is not permissible. In this case, what is happening? The entity is directly interacting with the entity. Again this is not permissible. In this case, the process, we have used this symbol. In this case, again it is not permissible. Again, what I am having? I am showing two data flows, two data A and B going to two different processes. Again this is not permissible. Why? Because what the forking says I am having data A and this data A is being transmitted at these two forks. Clear? So here we are having process A and here we are having process B. So again this is not permissible. Again the two processes, they cannot send the two different data to the same process. So what we are having, they can share same data, A and A. Again this is not permissible. And how you can draw it? If the process is referencing itself, then in this case A data is going to B, and from B the A data is again going from another process to the same process. So we are having rule K, L and M. So what the K says, a fork and data flow means that exactly the same data goes from a common location to two or more different processes, data stores or source and sink. What the rule L says, a join in a data flow means that exactly the same data comes from any of two or more different processes, data stores or source or sink to a common location. Rule M, it says a data flow cannot go directly back to the same process it leaves. There must be at least one, at least. Other process that handles the data flow produces some other data flow and returns the original data flow to the beginning process. This is how you will represent this concept. A data flow to a data store means update. The data flow from a data store means retrieve or use. That is, if I am having these process, and what this imply? This imply we are retrieving the data, and this imply we are doing updation. So here we are updating something and here we are retrieving something. So a data flow has a noun, phrase, labels. Always remember, you need to label these data flows. That is, we should be aware that what is being communicated from one process to another process, or from data store to process, or process to data store. How we decompose the DFDs? We decompose them on the basis of function. So, the act of going from one single system to many component processes. It is a repetitive procedure and the lowest level is called a primitive DFD. If we talk about a primitive DFD, that is my context level DFD. Level and diagrams, that is when we are saying level 1, level 2, what it says? A DFD, that is the result of n nested decompositions of a series of sub-processes from a process on a level 0 diagram. So, this is the meaning of level n diagram. So, what are the guidelines for drawing the DFDs? DFDs, they need to be complete. These are the properties a good DFD should follow. It should be complete. DFD must include all components necessary for a system. Each component must be fully described in the project dictionary or the case repository. That is, you either use the a manual, you go for the manual documentation, or you can do the documentation with the help of case tools. Consistency, it says the extent to which information contained on one level of a set of nested DFDs is also included on other levels. Timing, time is not represented well on DFDs. Best to draw the DFDs as if the system has never started and will never stop. It is an iterative development. Analysts should expect to redraw diagrams several times before reaching the closest approximation to the system being modeled. That is, if you say that you are sitting for 1 hour and drawing the DFDs, then this time may not be sufficient. You need to rework multiple times when you draw a DFD. What is primitive DFD? As I already told you, it is the lowest logical level of decomposition. Decision has to be made when to stop the decomposition. This is very necessary. So, what are the rules for stopping the decomposition? That is how we decide that at up to which level we should go for the decomposition. When each process has been reduced to a single decision, calculation or the database operation, we say that now this is a stopping time. When each data store represents the data about a single entity, when the system user does not care to see any more detail, we say, okay, now my DFD is complete and we can stop further decomposition. When every data flow does not need to be split further to show that data are handled in various ways, that is up to micro level you need to go when you are using the data. When you believe that you have shown each business form or transaction on line display and report as a single data flow. When you believe that there is a separate process for each choice on all lowest level menu options, we say that it is now the time to stop the decomposition. So this is all about the DFDs, how to draw them, what are the rules when we draw a DFD, and what are the rules to stop the decomposition of a DFD. These are the reference material which you can further use, which you can use for further study. Thank you and Jai Hind.